We have just observed Valentine's Day recently, so I wanted to follow up with a program on how to improve relationships. So, whether you're looking for better relationships with a spouse or a partner, or with your children, or with a coworker or a boss, or with a friend or a relative or a neighbor or somebody else, there are some key factors and real keys that you can use to elevate, improve, better your relationships with the people around you. And relationships can really improve and add to our happiness in our lives, or can add to our frustration and discontent. So I want to show you some simple ways, but important ways, you can improve and elevate the relationships with the people around you. So if this is the first time you're joining me, I'm Dr. Ellen Ettinger. And those who work with me know I love to help empower people so that you can learn to create your best, your strongest, your happiest, your most successful life. And relationships is one important factor that goes into that. I wanted to show you that I am actually wearing a necklace today with hearts. And I thought that would be a fun one to wear as I talk about relationships. So we want to make sure that we put our heart in our relationships, and that our heart is seen and observed by those around us. So I want to start getting into those key factors that are so important when we want to optimize our interactions, our relationships with the people around us. So the first factor that I want to mention is attention. People really want your attention. So when you really want to have a successful, optimal interaction with people, which should be when you're interacting with people, put the cell phone away, don't multitask, and don't be thinking of other things. Direct one-to-one attention is important. And one way of showing that as well is eye contact. You want to have direct eye contact, not direct and then looking down at your cell phone, or direct and shifting papers on your desk, or direct and then not really looking into their eyes because you're really thinking about other factors. You're thinking about work, or what you have to buy for the week, or whatever. You really want to focus your attention on the other person. Factor number one is attention. People want to be attended to. They want to feel that you are watching and looking at them. And number two is time. You don't want another person to feel, she doesn't have time for me. I had a client who came to me and told me the first time she was speaking to me, she said, my daughter told me that she felt I don't have time for her. And she said, I am busy working, I'm busy cleaning the house. And I described certain ways that she can spend some quality time with her daughter, where her daughter will feel that she's important and attended to and gets that eye contact and one-to-one attention. So attention and time. And time shouldn't be just whenever it happens, but schedule some time. Not for 30 seconds, but for some time. I like for parents to always have some, at least weekly interaction, and preferably daily conversation with kids. Even simply, how was your day? What went on today? Maybe who did you play with today? Did anything make you happy today? Anything go well today? Any challenges, any issues today? You really want your kids to be comfortable coming to you and knowing that they're used to discussing challenges with you and issues, so that if there is really an important concern, they know that there's a channel that they can come and get your input and get advice and guidance from you. And that doesn't always happen unless there's a regular ongoing channel where kids are used to talking and telling you what's on their mind. Again, if there's something important, they may or they may not come to you. They're more likely to come to you if they're used to having conversations with you about what's going on in their lives. So, attention, time, and the third is event. Sometimes we can plan interactions so that we know they happen and not leave them just to random chance, like maybe it'll happen, we'll have a conversation Thursday night. No, plan it. Plan daily a few minutes when you talk to each other, what's going on, how is your day today. Maybe you'll have a longer interaction once a week. Maybe Thursday night you have dinner together and you discuss over dinner what's going on. And there are many different types of events that can be planned. One is dinner, one is just a conversation over some tea or water or a snack. Maybe it's having a game and just relating together, having some fun, or watching a movie, or going to a show or a concert, watching something useful on television. Maybe an art project together, or some kind of sports event to go and watch, or sports to participate in. Maybe with a partner or a spouse to go running together, or out for dinner, a date night together. So there should be some type of event that you can look forward to and schedule. And these shouldn't be random when they come or eventually spaced out. But for somebody who's important with you, the next key is frequency and repetition. You should make time for one-on-one interaction with someone who's important to you on a regular basis. Not just when it happens, but maybe once a week, date night. Or like I suggested, a conversation with kids daily, and maybe a longer conversation once a week. Again, we don't want to leave relationships to chance. We want to create and be the architect to make sure that we have a strong, empowered relationship going. The next key is perspective. It's always important to see another person's perspective, especially when it doesn't agree with yours. When we interact with other people, we can't expect that we will agree with everyone 100% of the time, always. There will always be times when we see things differently. And it is really helpful to relationships to be able to almost look through their eyes. There's this phrase, you could stand in their shoes. But imagine looking through their eyes and seeing their perspective. You may not agree with it, but at least if you understand why they see it the way they do, it may help you understand how they function the way they do, why they act the way that you do, the way they do. And it might even help you to explain why you feel your particular view is more helpful. If you don't see their view, if you don't take time to see their view, you're losing their perspective. And everyone wants their voice to be heard. Everyone wants to be understood. From a person your age or older to babies and infants. We all want our voice to be heard, our perspective to be seen. We want to be seen and heard. And so being capable of putting yourself and understanding someone else's position is really helpful in building relationships. That doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It just means you have to see things from their point of view. That is really such a big plus. It's so helpful in building empowering and tight-knit and close and warm relationships, even when you don't agree on everything. Being able to see the other's perspective is really genuinely helpful. And the last key that I'm going to talk about today that I think is really important, especially for partners and spouses, is what I talk about with my clients as disagreement planning. As I mentioned, it's unreasonable to expect that we're going to agree on everything 100% of the time, always. There will be times we disagree. And if we can discuss in advance, not in the heat of things, not in the heat of an argument, but if we can discuss as a couple, if you can discuss as a couple how you are going to handle things when you disagree, it can really help you handle those disagreements. Because sometimes disagreements get out of hand when people are not respecting the other person because they don't agree with their point of view. So I'm going to give you briefly a few of the things that I tell the couples and the people that I work with, my clients, just to get you started and give you an idea. So very often when we disagree with somebody, our statement will be something to the likes or to the extent of, well, you're wrong because, or you don't see it the right way because, or you don't understand, or sometimes you never do this because. And what I tell people is you can explain that you disagree about something, but try to use I language instead of you language, because when you use you language, it comes across as an attack. You are wrong because, you shouldn't do this because, you don't understand. It feels like being attacked. So if you use I language, you can say something like, I think this would help because, or I think this would be a better way because. I explains your perspective, but it doesn't attack the other person. So that's one key that I think is helpful. I also tell people that in your disagreement planning, remember, you want to win the relationship, not win an argument. Nobody's goal is to win an argument because we really don't want it to end up as an argument. We want it to end up as an understanding that can really help us get to a solution. And if you win the argument, that's usually not facilitative of winning the discussion, the topic, or the relationship. Winning the argument usually involves attacking the other, telling them they're wrong, explaining to them why they're wrong and why you're right. To win the relationship, it is clearly different because you want to calmly discuss the issue, the topic, without attacking, without heavy emotion if possible as well. Just try objectively explaining your perspective. You may even show that you understand their perspective. And again, if you understand their perspective, it can help you perhaps explain to them why the way you see it can help them as well. The best outcome in a disagreement is if you can come up with an outcome that works for both people. So it's not winning the argument, it's winning the relationship. So again, I language is helpful. The second is, remember, the goal is to win the relationship. Third, in disagreement planning, it means we both feel listened to. So we each get to express how we feel, and we each should understand how the other person feels. And we want to make sure we're each being treated fairly. And again, an important point in disagreement planning is you need to be responsible to understand and to see the other person's perspective so that we can be sure that our voices are always heard and respected. That is really important, to feel respected in a relationship. And again, we're not always going to agree 100% of the time. Very often there are particular thorny issues that need to be ironed out, and that if you can do it using I language, perspective, and these other qualities and factors that I've described to you, you can often get over that, that obstacle in the relationship. So again, some of the factors to build a relationship, and again, these work whether you're trying to build a relationship with a spouse or a partner, or with a child, or with a coworker, a colleague, or your boss, or a friend, or a relative, or a neighbor, or someone else. Let's go over these key factors again. Attention. Everybody wants to feel that they're important, that they garner attention towards them. Everybody wants some time from you, and you can really plan this. You don't necessarily have to spend hours with each person. Even a few minutes of direct attention, of direct planned attention, so you both know you're attending to each other, is helpful. An event. The third is an event. Planning events are really helpful so that we know we're spending quality time together. So it may be seeing a movie or watching television together, or playing a game together, or doing an art project, or sports, watching or participating, going running, going hiking. There are so many different types of events. The important thing is to plan them and put them on the calendar. Don't just randomly wait for them to happen. Next is perspective. We always want the other person to feel that we understand their perspective, that their voice is heard, that they are respected, that they have impact, that they're important to us. And how do we show them that they're important to us? We listen to them. We show them we care. We give them our direct attention. And we really do care. We show that. And perspective is an important way of saying, I care, I understand, your voice is heard. And what very often helps is to actually repeat so that you can show you understand their perspective. So it may be something like, I see you feel that if we do this, whatever that might be, that will help solve the problem. Or I see that you feel that this is a problem here that we need to work on. Again, by repeating what you observe, you're first checking to make sure that you see it correctly. And second, you're checking to show that you understand their perspective, that their voice has been heard. So I sometimes teach this in more detail to my clients. I sometimes teach this to community groups, and I often teach this to couples, especially showing respect to each other, building, empowering, happy, successful relationships. And disagreement planning can be really helpful, especially if both partners go through it and understand all the steps, how they can help, and how they can create better outcomes for relationships and for topics where you might disagree. So one of the couples that I worked with, Tina and Don, said this. Tina said, we had a decent marriage, but it felt like there were holes and openings. After learning Dr. Ellen's pearls of relationship wisdom and putting them into effect in our lives, our marriage went to a 10 out of 10. We also both worked on moving ahead with Dr. Ellen on meeting our goals and building success in life. And we are now a 20 out of 10. Happy each of us, and happy and joyous together. So I just wanted to share that with you. I get so many comments like that. Success and creating our best lives doesn't just show up. It doesn't show up on our doorstep randomly, but there are so many keys and factors and steps that you can take to move it in that direction and get there. And it really is joyous when you get there. So I encourage you to think about these. If you'd like to work on any of these with me or discuss any of them, I will have a limited number of appointments. I will put my calendar in the chat. And so a limited number of you will get the opportunity to speak to me this week. I really am very excited about helping you with your relationships, whether they're relationships at home or relationships at work or both. I know that this is a factor that can really help make you happier in your life, both at home and at work, and it can help you feel more successful as well. So I remind you to come into our group during the week, to come to our regular scheduled topic every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And I look forward to speaking to you. Let's talk next week when I'm here, and during the week I'd be delighted. Let's talk soon.